All right. Good evening once again, and welcome to another edition of the Dr. Narine Dat Show. Obviously, this is the first Sunday of 2026. This is our first live broadcast for 2026. And so it's going to be a little bit different. And the reason for that is because we, just like everybody else, we also have plans and mission and vision and goals and all of that for the things we do. But for those of you who are watching or listening to us for the very first time, keep in mind that you're watching and listening the Dr. Narine Dat Show. And there are a few different ways for you to do so. You can listen to us on the Rydal Dial, that's the radio, 102.7 CKMS FM. You can listen to us on Rogers Digital Cable as well, for those of you who have the Rogers Digital box. And of course, we are also live streaming our show here. So please, by all means, take the opportunity to share a page. As of now, I'm not able to see everybody and whatnot, but that's how things are. And so there are a couple of things I want to share with you. But before I leave the show today, I want to talk about the importance of setting goals, right? So it's not necessarily a New Year's resolution. Some people believe in it, some people don't. But it is important to set goals. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but also I want to talk a little bit about the USA and Venezuela situation. And the reasons for that is because having social work background, I want to kind of give my opinion and expertise in terms of power imbalance and so forth, because I think that's important, and maybe a couple pointers as to what we can do to kind of make sure that we can still carry on with our lives, not knowing of the unknown, right? So that's the purpose of today's show. I also want you to know that the Dr. Narine Dat Show will look very, very different in time to come. When I say in time to come, in a few weeks. So that's something to kind of keep an eye out for. Because it is a beautiful, it's not a bad thing. It is a beautiful thing, but it's going to look very different. Our approach and model will be a little bit different for sure. So something to keep in mind. But let me get right into it. And for those of you, who are open to kind of comment and give your opinion as well to when it comes to new resolution, or any goals you may have for the new year's, feel free to kind of openly share that. That's okay. But I want to tell you this much right now. It is extremely important for people to set goals in life. And I always recommend people to kind of make the effort to set two kinds of goals. One is the short-term goal, right? Something that people can achieve, within, 2, 3 months, something very short term. Because at the end of it all, once those things are achieved, it gives you a sense of, motivation and excitement, knowing that you are moving forward. But also it is important for people to have a long-term goal, and it's irrelevant as to what age you are, honestly. And so long-term goal could be, something that's going to take, a few years. It could be that you've never had an opportunity to finish, high school and you want to do it. And you put some, plan in place, you set some deadline and you're working towards that. That's a goal. Maybe people finish their bachelor's and they want to get into the master. Those are long-term goal. Maybe they want to, finish a deck, in their backyard, things of that sort. But very important to have set goals for sure, because the thing is, once you set goal, you start to kind of see more meaning in life, right? When you wake up in the morning, you're waking up for a really good purpose, right? And again, these are very broad things. People have different interests, right? And that's how people should set goal. And some people definitely step out of their comfort zone too, and they try things that they've never done before, things of that sort, right? If anybody, I'm looking forward to see if anybody has any sort of goal here that they want to share. Reed, I want you to know that I see your comment and I appreciate that, which means that you would like, our what we have in store for you in terms of the new setting and the new approach and the new model of the Dr. Narine Dat Show. So I'm happy to hear of your comment, because it goes to show that the best is yet to come, so to speak, right? Um, Having said that, though, we still will have our guests and things of that sort, but the model will be very, very different. And you will see it because we have folks working on it. We have producers working it as we speak. Um, I was, I receive, first of all, for those of you, who took the time to celebrate you, for for whatever you may have accomplished in 2025, congratulations to you. I think it's important for people to kind of, you know, um, you know, um, take every, opportunity and, and chance and time they have to kind of celebrate those moments. I think is important. The reality is, we are in a new year, and there's a good chance that not everybody achieve what they were hoping for, which is not uncommon, right? If that is the case, do know that in life, sometimes we have to try more than once, right? None of us will be successful at our very first try, right? I failed in my life many times. I'm a very successful individual, and those are the pieces people will see because that's what we showcase to people, right? And we all do that. That's just how things operate. But generally speaking, success is not a straight line. And you folks know all of this. I know my audience, you folks know all of this, but sometimes the reminder is important, right? So, success is not a straight line per se. It means that, we've, given things, things a try, and maybe it didn't turn to be how we were hoping it to be, right? And we keep trying and we keep trying. And as long as we keep trying, we have that motivation. It means that when we try again, we are going in with more knowledge and things of that sort, right? So something to kind of, I think, keep in mind as well too. And the reality is as well too, a lot of people are afraid of failures. They're afraid, of disappointment. You're afraid of what people might say and all of that. But the bottom line is, failures and not knowing how, and not knowing what direction to take and so forth are all part of being successful, right? Nobody's going to wake up, one morning and all of a sudden, things turn out exactly how they want it to be, right? So something to kind of keep in mind as well too. Um, Let me see here. Yeah. Yeah. So I can see people are congratulating each other and wishing people well for the new year. The reality is a new year, basically, it's also a new beginning in a different way. I get it. That is just another day. It's just another year and things of that sort. But the reality is it also a new beginning for us as well too, because we can say to ourselves, look, we didn't achieve the stuff that we wanted to achieve, right? Because we live in tough times as well, too, we cannot deny that, right? We live in tough times. But we can also say, look, we can use, this year, this time, as a fresh start, right? And this has, nothing to do with age at all. I always say to folks that we are never too young or too old to kind of start over in any shape or form, right? That's something to keep in mind there. So for those of you who just kind of tune in, I was sharing with the viewers and listeners that the Dr. Narine Dat Show will look very, very different. We are branding it very, very different. We have folks working on it, so something to kind of look forward to. Um, we will kind of obviously keep it more educational and we'll kind of go towards that piece at all. We'll continue from time to time with our cultural piece. We'll kind of do that, but we will fade away a little bit with that. We'll kind of have more of a business model, um, you know, um, business model kind of thing. So I wouldn't be able to explain all the details here, and there's no need for me to explain all the details, but we are going to make it more of a business model, and we will continue from time to time with that cultural piece. We'll try our best to fit in that cultural piece for sure, but we want to focus on on the business model, because I have lots of knowledge, and I want to make sure I'm utilizing those knowledge accordingly and things of that sort. So that's the purpose of that. So that's that. In terms of the goals, right? Setting goals. And if you don't have any goal right now, honestly, it's worth writing it down. So for me, I usually write down things I want to do, and it does not have to be in a fancy kind of way. It doesn't have to be in a fancy structured way, in ways we do it in a school setting or at work or in our professional career. But it's nice to write it down, right? Because this is your personal goal, right? Just like having a diary, you're writing stuff that are of importance to you. You write it down, and you want to take a look at that as well too every so often. You want to take a look of the things that you wrote down in there because it will give you a little bit of a motivation as well too, right? And as you accomplish these things, you also want to stroke those things off one by one. I've done that for years. And I find that when I'm not feeling my best self, because we all have low points in our life, I will pick up my book, so to speak, and I will flip those pages. I'll flip it one by one. And when I see all of those marks and strokes, I'm thinking, so my goodness, I've done well, right? Not writing it down will be difficult because we all have thoughts and ideas, but if we don't put it on paper, it's actually nothing. So start to do that. Do it for you. The best advice I can give each and every one of you, though, is to make sure that you are investing in you, right? It is not a selfish thing to invest in you because at the end of the day, none of us, as I keep mentioning, can feed off an empty bucket. So you want to make sure that you are investing in you. You want to make sure that you're putting yourself first, right? Um, a lot of times, we worry about, everybody else. We worry about, you know, you know, everybody else. Let me put it that way. Let me put it in a broad way there. And then we tend to forget about ourselves. But the reality is once we take care of us, once we put ourselves first, whether that be having good career, whether that be focusing on our health, um, anything, or mental health, making sure that we are okay, it helping other folks are kind of being there for other people becomes easy because if you don't have nothing and if you're empty yourself, there's not much of a help you can offer, right? There's something to kind of keep in mind there as well too. Focus on you, let that be a priority for sure. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do in terms of the goal. It's a beautiful thing. And don't be afraid to celebrate your own individual success. And so your success will be different than mine and vice versa. Yours will be very different, you know, from other people. And that's how it should be, right? Our goal is not the same. And you want to make sure that you're not comparing yourself with other people, which is difficult to do because sometimes we tend to say to ourselves that why is it, my friend has already done this? Why is it that my villager has already done that? And why is it that I'm behind? Right? I've met a lot of people and people keep bringing all of these things up. And that is a dangerous thing. It is dangerous in a sense that we spend so much energy worrying about everything else, but not us. We have to keep in mind that as long as we're in competition with our own self, we'll be laughing. Because no, in a sense, nobody's better than anybody else. Yes, different people might have unique skills, which is nice to kind of, to have, right? We all have different skill sets. So I might be good at something and you might be something good at something else. But the thing is, we have to realize that everybody go at different pace. Some people might start, a young person, for example, who just finished high school is probably starting their law career now, for example, right? They're just learning, for example. They wouldn't have life experience like somebody who's been in it for 20 years, right? And so that's the idea. You want to remind yourself that we all are at our different stage. We're kind of moving, but we are at a different level. But and once we understand that, we are basically, it's all gonna come together and make a lot of sense because we are not worrying about John anymore because we know that we are doing our own thing. And once I stay focused doing my thing, then that's all that matters, right? So something to keep in mind. I've heard all of these stories all the time. I've heard it in therapy sessions as well too, where people are saying to me, oh my God, Narine, I don't think I'm doing well. I think I should be in a better place in life. I think I should have a better career and so forth, right? But we also have to accept the fact that sometimes we face different challenges in our lives, and the time might not be right? Some people end up having kids at an early age, and then they have to focus on that, and they put their career on hold. and then they can end up, continue on at a later age and things of that sort. Right? So something to kind of keep in mind there. So let me say hello to a few people here. I want to acknowledge a few of you. I'm not able to see everybody, but because this is the first live show for us, I want to take this opportunity. The whole purpose of the show is to let you know that the Dr. Narine Dat Show will look very, very different. The model will be very different. It will be a business model. Because I will utilize more of my skill set to kind of enhance this show that way. And so we've been working it for a long time, but now it's coming to light. But also want to encourage folks that this. Let me put it this way: there is a favorite quotation, and I might not get it right, but you folks are smart people, and you will get what I'm saying here. There's a saying that the sky does not belong to anybody, right? And none of us need permission to fly. Something along that line. So what that means is, if you have a goal in life and a dream in life, that is your thing. There's nobody who can take that away from you. And the only person who can hold you back from achieving that is yourself, right? Yes, you may have to be mindful and careful as to who you share certain things with, because we live in reality, we live in a strange society, right? Where sometimes people do not want you to succeed. These are all reality things, but you do not want any of that to hold you back from taking, calculated risk and taking chance in life. If you're too comfortable in life, if you're too comfortable, at your job and so forth, maybe that's a sign for you to do something different. Something to keep in mind. In no shape or form saying to you to quit your job, by the way, right? I want you to kind of keep that in mind. So let me say hello to, again, officially to Reed. Bravesh, thank you so much for taking the sneak peek. Very smart young man. I have no doubt that you will do really well in life. Pradeep, thank you so much for taking a sneak peek. Shahid, thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you as well. Says, and I'm talking about the Says. There are many Says watching here, but I'm talking about the Says and I who work together. We are going to have a Denzel reunion, by the way, so that's a side note, something to keep in mind. Chanu, Edwin, and Raul. I hope you're doing well, Raul. Raul and I are former villagers. And all of you folks. And so, as I was saying, the whole purpose of today's show is to kind of give you an idea as to, what plans we have with the Dr. Narine Dat Show, right? I mean, I have my own individual plan as well, too, of doing my own professional, and personal professional growth and things of that sort. And so I will continue that and in this, even though we live in a challenging era, there are still lots of different opportunities, but we have to remind ourselves that the opportunities doesn't come to us just like that. We have to kind of dig for it. We have to seek for it. And if you have that extra motivation, it is so easy to really be at a position in life where you can wake up in the morning and you can say, look, I'm satisfied with life. I'm satisfied with the things that I'm doing. I know that I'm living for living to serve my own purpose, so to speak, right? So that's so that's what I want to share in terms of this whole goal setting and the enhancement of the Dr. Narine Dat Show. The second thing I want to talk about here is the Venezuela and USA situation. Obviously, everybody has seen, what took place and whatnot. And this is just me sharing my perspective on things. And this is not me justifying anything here in any shape or form. But I think the biggest lesson that I've gotten from the whole Venezuela-US situation, if anything at all, is that it goes to show that when we have power, right? When we have power, access to money and all of these types of things, it means that we have a lot of control, right? So that's one way to kind of look at it as well too. Not saying in any shape or form, so please don't misunderstand me here in any shape or form. I know we've had issue with Venezuela wanted to take part of Guyana, and take over Venezuela, that portion and so forth. I know that was the chaos it caused. lot of anxiety for a lot of people and things of that sort. And so I think sometimes in life, we have to, face the consequences for our own actions as well too, right? So that's one thing. But the reality is, it goes to show that the people with the power, right? The people with the money, they have lots of control, right? So, and knowing that this is, something where the world is watching, I can assure you it's causing a lot of anxiety to a lot of people because people don't know the unknown. People don't know what's going to happen next. People don't know who's going to be next in that sense, right? And that can be hard on a lot of folks, especially younger folks, neighboring countries and things of that sort. And so we have to make sure that we are preparing for these things. So when I say prepare for these things, make sure I'm talking about us educating ourselves, us not coming, to any sort of quick judgment, anything of that sort, but really kind of sticking together here, right? These things, this was not an overnight thing. There was not a 5 minute thing. These things were planned for a long time, right? So for those, you folks are smart people, so it is very obvious that that situation, that the whole deal was kind of planned for a long time. I get it that it was well executed in that sense, but it was very well planned, very well organized, and so forth, right? Um, but again, it comes back to power, just like anything else. And let me give you a simple example. I'm in a position where I can hire people, right? Part of my job, like in leadership, I hire people and fire people and so forth too. And and that's just an example. And in a sense, I can take whoever I want. But I do not operate that way. My doctoral thesis was based on best practices for inclusive hiring. Not that I get it right all the time, but my point to you here is that when we are in a position of power, right, we have to be very conscious of it because we kind of forget that we have people who are who will never get to that kind of a point where they have not necessarily control but um but have their voice heard and things of that sort, right? So that's my take on this whole Venezuela US situation. That's a lesson learned here, right? So let me see if anybody's sharing anything here. It looks like folks are this is a safe space. I want folks to know that this is a safe space. And if you have any input and so forth, feel free to kind of share. Um, and I just want to recap a few things that I've kind of said earlier, just in case, because I know people have busy life and so forth, and they might not, they may have missed it. And so the whole purpose of me coming on here today, the first, live show for 2026, is to let folks know that the Dr. Narine Dat Show will be very, very different. We will be enhancing the show. We are taking it to a different level where it's going to be a business model. And we will kind of not fade away, but we will kind of focus more on things that fits, with my educational background and my values and so forth. And from time to time, we'll kind of blend in subcultural pieces as well too. But the cultural piece will not be a main focus per se. The cultural piece is important in its own way, right? Anything to do with entertainment, folks will like and enjoy and things of that sort, but it will not be our main focus because we want to make sure that with our initiative, we are making an impact, and as well too. We will have regular folks as well too, but we'll focus a lot on celebrity guests and things of that sort. So lots of changes will be happening. Within the next few months. I just want you folks to kind of know that, but I also want to start it off in a very soft way, just to kind of keep you folks informed as to what's happening. And so that's the purpose here, for sure. So let me say hello to Ken Rampersar. Thank you so much and Happy New Year to you. Ken is very much passionate about, the work he does. And he's full of energy, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? And I want to give a special thanks to kind of Leon for always kind of supporting our initiative, which is a beautiful thing. Um, there are a lot of people here that I'm not able to see. Yes, but anyway, so that's the update I want to kind of give you and kind of let you know. Next week, Sunday, we'll have a young gentleman who will be joining us, and the following week we have um, another great guest as well too. But in a few months, there will be lots of changes, major changes with the Dr. Narine Dat Show. I just thought to let you folks know that. But I will still come on, from time to time to kind of maybe talk about little random stuff based on what's happening and requests from people and so forth. So I will kind of go in a second. But speaking of cultural pieces, do know that over 2 decades ago, I started the Caribbean Dreams concert and Caribbean Spice radio show and so forth, more of a cultural thing. And speaking of that, I will end you though with a cultural with a new song here. Because this song um we have had the guest on our show, and I think it's also important if for us to kind of support these local initiatives and things of that sort. Let me see if I can find it. I'll be happy to kind of share that with you. But if not, we'll have them back on at some point. So again, yeah, yeah. If so, let me just summarize here. It looks like we might not be able to do what we want to do here, which is okay. And so just to recap, when I look back at my own life, I realized that I'm at a place in life right now where I'm very content for certain things. And certain things I still have a lot of greed for. For example, when it comes to knowledge and better myself that way, I'm greedy that way, I guess, because I always want the best for myself that way. I kind of push myself that way. But I'm very content and I'm at a place where I feel obligated actually to kind of pay it forward and kind of give back. And there's so many different ways for us to do that. Um, and sometimes for us to do that, we have to kind of step back a little bit as well to create room and space for other people. And that's one reason in the initiatives that I do, I try whenever possible to kind of be more in the background so that other folks, can have an opportunity to be at the forefront and so forth. But I also want to, to mentor and encourage folks, you know, to do better for themselves. There are a lot of people with a lot of different potential, and I'm not talking about singing and dancing here. I'm talking about potential in terms of, having a better life for themselves, right? Um, and then when they have a better life for themselves, then they can take it to the next step now, and they can, be a champion in society and start to do things for the community and so forth. But people cannot do things for the community and to the broader community if they themselves are not, stable mentally and, don't have a strong, you know, um, strong, not knowledge per se, but I mean, strong support, so that they can be strong individual. Because the bottom line is people have to be, you have to be strong, in terms of facing the challenging world we live in now, right? We live in a very challenging world. And so people need to kind of strengthen themselves. And that's one reason I was saying to folks that maybe for the new year, maybe people can focus on their own personal and professional growth, right? Because without you having anything to offer, there's not much you can offer, people, right? And the idea is not to offer people per se. Like you have to be content and satisfied with life yourself to a point that you're excited and then you want to give it back. Because most of the people that give back, people are doing it because they're excited because they see meaning in life. And so a lot of people, believe it or not, when they give, it gives them more joy and so forth, right? And Ken Prasad, by the way, is a good example. I'm not sure if he is realizing that as well, because when he talks about, the importance of giving and all the kind of things that he had done really to kind of get started to, send stuff to Guyana and so forth, that gives him a self of satisfaction. So that's just one example kind of thing, right? Yeah, so when I look down, I'm just looking at my phone here. That's all. And so generally speaking, in life, I mean, everybody wants to have a good life, right? Like everybody wants to, wake up and feel that there's a reason to live and so forth. And I know mental health is a whole different thing. Um, that's a whole different ball game, and we'll talk about that. And Ken and I, we've kind of talked about that on his show previously and so forth. Sometimes in life, believe it or not, people can have everything, right? They can have money, they can have access to limited amount of money, they have a lot of wealth and so forth, but yet they don't find any meaning in life. And believe it or not, I've had a vice principal who's in charge, for our children for a school. And the very first time I met him in a therapy session, he said to me, money's not his issue, relationship is not his issue, but he feel like taking his own life. Right? But that's a whole different a whole different thing. Every day wouldn't be the same. So let's say you're having a bad day today and you're having some issue with family members or friends and whatnot. That doesn't mean that, it's going to be like that. Though those are different things. But let's say you keep waking up every day and you find that there's no meaning to life and so forth, then right, that it's a sign that you have to connect with somebody. And sometimes connecting with just a friend who you trust, which can be hard sometimes because it's hard to trust people these days, but that would be enough, right? Because isolation it's a bad thing. But let's say there's a need for more and even though it's a stigma when it comes to mental health and so forth, you'll be amazed to know how much of benefit it has when you connect with a professional person because a lot of times you get wraparound service, right? We just have to, it's okay to be vulnerable sometimes and say, look, I'm lost in life, right? I'm lost. I don't know what direction to take, but I know I have it. And some people need that assistance to kind of figure out to navigate certain things so that they can be the best version of themselves and so forth. That's a side thing I'm kind of giving you because there's a lot of things floating into my head here. I want the best for you guys. And sometimes a lot of people have difficulties saying no to things as well. I actually have no difficulty saying no um, because you will know when it's time to say no, right? When you have, let's say you're having some challenging time, or let's say you've had like a long day at work, and then when you come, at the end of work, somebody's asking you to do something else and so forth. It's okay to say no, and I know that we live in times where sometimes everything seems to be urgent, right? Where everything has to be done now. Not necessarily at workplace. I take my work seriously and I love to work. I can tell you that much. But I always say to my staff that if the building is not on fire, it means that it's not an emergency. Right? So, right? And so we have to kind of think along that line as well too, right? So something to kind of keep in mind. Let me quickly say hello to a few other people here. John, I have everything but still have anxiety and sometimes depression. Oh no, John, I totally hear you. And thank you, by the way, John from Queens, by the way, who has done a lot of things for lots of artists and different people for a long time. So we appreciate that, just so you know that. That is true, John. That is true. Um, so anxiety and things of that sort. Yeah, I mean, I have anxiety when it comes to heights, for example. So I live in Kitchener, and so when I go to Niagara Falls, there are two bridges you have to cross. As soon as I see the bridge, I start to sweat. You know, real anxiety for that 2 minutes when I'm on top of that bridge, like full anxiety to the max. So one of the things that worked for me, and we're not doing a therapy session here, by the way, but just to share with folks, sometimes you can be your own um, therapist, and you can, because you know yourself better than anybody else. And so for me, when I get to that point, I put on a dark shade. I put a dark shade and I put on a little bit of music, and I go at the middle of the lane. There are several lanes, obviously, so I go at the middle, and that seems to be working for me. And I kind of breathe as well too, right? I kind of consciously breathe while I'm there and stay very focused. So anxiety, depending what kind of anxiety you're talking about, John, we can connect separately. But people have anxiety for a lot of different things. I'm scared of needles, believe it or not. When were in the heart of the pandemic, taking the vaccination I took the vaccination. Taking it was a challenge for me, believe it or not. I can speak in front of thousands of people, which I've done in the past. I can, that's what I can do that. But I could not do that, take the vaccination. And so I was very vulnerable to the nurse. And I said to her, look, I'm just letting you know that this is something I have fear of doing, And I have to tell you that they're trained for that. And Ken is a nurse. And so Ken obviously is not first time he's hearing this. But I have to tell you, like, they took good care of me. They laid me down. And when I was done, I have to tell you, I felt as if I won another award. That's how it felt for me. So we all have different kind of things, different challenges in life, but I don't let that hold me back, right, from living my day-to-day life and so forth. But if people have severe anxiety where it's holding them back, from living their life and so forth, and that's a huge problem. Especially when it comes to like, if it leads to any sort of depression or if it's like low motivation and so forth, that's really bad because it's also will cause problem with the people in your circle, in your relationship, right? So, because if you have anxiety for certain things, and if you're not your full self, and if people are not aware, then that will cause lots of problem for sure. Um, yeah, so sorry, I'm just looking down here. If anybody is kind of saying anything here. Yeah, so folks, I personally wish each and every one of you well. Do know that the world, it all depends what people want to do in their life, right? I know that finance is a big thing for a lot of people. A lot of people share, things and so forth. Um, and because we live in a tough time, and there has been lots of layoff and in different areas and so forth. For folks who are following these things will know of these things, and so that can be hard on people. It can be hard on young people as well too, who are starting on their life now, in terms of wanting a house and so forth. Those are hard things, but I can tell you for sure with confidence is that there are lots of opportunities out there. We just have to go out and grab it. It's there. And obviously the rich people, generally speaking, not everybody, so don't call me after the show here. Generally speaking, the rich people are very greedy people. And so a lot of times the rich people, for some reason, they always want more, because for me, if somebody is like extremely rich, let's say they're billionaires, for example, right? Why would you want more money? As soon as when I see things like that, for me, I see greed there, right? And so ideally, we are supposed to have a system. I don't want to get into this, unsexy topic here. So ideally, we are the system is supposed to set up in such of a way that when you hit, 5 million or 10 million, you're done. Give somebody else an opportunity. Because the thing is, once the rich gets more money and more resources, they are taken away from the poor. So the poor people will always remain poor. The poor people will always struggle, because the gap between the rich and the poor is really wide. And so, for example, here in Canada, and I'm sure the States is no different, Guyana and elsewhere is no different. Here in Canada, I'm pretty much close, but I don't know the exact number, but I'm pretty much sure about 5% of the people here in Canada owns 95% of the wealth. So think about that. 5% of the people owns 95% of the wealth, and the 95% of the people shares the other 5%, right? So it goes to show that the world is a little bit unfair here, but we can still find a way so that we ourselves become champion and successful people and so forth. And I can tell you, I'm a perfect example. I'm not a millionaire or billionaire in any shape or form, but I come from a grassroots family. I mean, like we were okay, like we had a successful business and so forth, but kind of middle class, I guess that's a fair word to say. Um, but I came to this country, with one intention, really, to really be the best version of me, and I'm something I'm happy to share. I took every advantage, every opportunity rather that came my way. Um, I just took it and I stay focused and I accept, times when things didn't go as planned, but I took risk as I kind of go along. I'm a risk taker. I do calculated risks because I realize in life and learn over the years that if you don't take a risk in life, you will always remain at one level, right? And then when you get more older in life, then you tend to regret and say, look, I should have done that. And in fact, I've been at a job for 10 years. I had about 6 weeks of vacation and things of that sort, very comfortable. But after working there for 10 years, a friend of mine, for example, we have decided to leave that place to better our lives, right? She wanted to become a police officer, and I was more interested to let social work kind of related stuff because social work is very broad. And I'm very happy to share that that young lady is a police officer. That's what she wanted to do, and a very successful one as well too. And so stuff like that kind. So by all means, do know that the opportunities are there. Um, you know, um, just go and grab it, and also you have to be prepared for when people say to you no. Keep in mind, you will hear more no's than yes. And that is okay. I want us to repeat this a few times. You will hear more no's, just like when you're applying for a job, right? You apply for a job and they'll say to you, thank you, we received your application, but everything was great, but we found somebody else and thank you for applying and so forth. That's just a perfect example because I work, in my earlier years, I work as an employment counselor, so I've kind of get it. In life, you will hear more no's. It does not matter. You want to keep moving. You want to keep moving. And I'll share this story with you. When I was completing, I finished my doctorate, by the way, but when I wanted to do my, when I was ready to do my master's, I wanted to do one that really fits with my values and fits with my scheduling and all of that. And obviously, the States has more options because States has more schools and so forth in Canada. Canada, we're good here too. I have, we have like several universities in my own area here. But the programming did not fit with my scheduling, did not fit with my values and so forth. And I actually I pick up the phone. I pick up the phone and nobody was offering anything that fits with my scheduling and my values and so forth. And then I start to call the States. And States is a big place, they have 100,000 of schools there. And I call and pick up the phone. I keep calling. There was one lady, very nice lady, never met her. She said to me, Narine, if you keep calling, if you keep doing exactly what you're doing, you will find a school that offer you exactly what you're looking for. And honestly, that was a reminder for myself. that, you know what, she's right. Because I was doing that, but I needed to hear it too. And I keep calling and keep calling. And finally, I found a university that offered a master of social work that really fit, with my values, and a very unique program that we don't have here in Canada. We have great schools and everything here too, but that part of the program was so special. So my point here is that there will be a lot of no's, lots of disappointment because people didn't even answer me when I was calling. But I knew what I wanted for me, and I keep going. And as soon as I get it, and I realize, oh, this is it for me now. I'm done now. I'm done because I did the hard work already. And same thing, you can get discouraged. It's just like folks who are in Ghana or out of North America. A lot of people still want to come to places like North America, right, Canada, America, and so forth. And sometimes people were going for a visa. And they wouldn't get that visa first time. I know of many people. I help many people get visa, by the way. Tourist visa, the legal visa. Let me put it that way. And a lot of, but I also know of people who didn't get it first time. And you can be extremely disappointed. But what do? Do you just stop and say, look, I didn't get it? You keep trying again, and then people end up getting. So something to keep in mind. So I hope that, you take full advantage of what the world has to offer here, right? So let me also say, before I wrap up, I should say hello to Dave Ramsaran. Thank you so much, sir, former villager of mine. I hope you and your family are doing well. I will read these comments later on, but again, I want you to know that I appreciate you joining. We didn't have a guest today intentionally because I want to share firsthand to you that this show, the Dr. Narine Show, will look very, very different. And you will like what we have in store for you, that I can tell you. But also we want to share knowledge, and we are hoping that you will recognize your own potential. Sometimes people don't recognize their own potential, right? And it's so easy for you to start with the resources that you have at hand. It's much easier that way, right? All right. So listen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the support, but we are more concerned for your growth. There are a lot of people who can do well, and whatever knowledge you have and so forth, don't be afraid to kind of share it. You'll be amazed to know the impact it has. You don't have to have a talk show to kind of make an impact in life, right? I'm aware of folks do great work, and we never heard of it, right? Yeah. All right. So as we are officially approaching the end of tonight's program, I would like to thank you for tuning into the Dr. Narine Dat Show. Please remember to tune in to us next week, Sunday. We do have a great guest, and we also have another great guest the following week. And as time goes on, I will kind of keep you in the loop in terms of what direction we are taking with the Dr. Narine Dat Show. But as I was mentioning, it will be more of a business model. So thank you again, and have yourself a great today and even a better tomorrow. I'll talk to you soon.